There are 4 crops you need to get in the ground or in your containers right now, regardless of what zone you're in. Today, we'll get into those 4, the fertilizing methods, and also a bonus set of crops that you want to get in to maximize your summer garden. Welcome back to Grow, Plan, Live. There are some crops that take 3-4 months to grow, or even longer to grow to their full potential. So we want to get started as soon as possible on those crops. So today our first group of crops are going to be squash, particularly our winter squash. So we're going to go ahead and plant this North Georgia candy roaster. Last year I planted it, gorgeous looming vines, but we got the vines and didn't quite get the fruit. We got the flowers and not the fruit. So this year, I'm starting as soon as possible. I'm in zone 8. This is literally either our actual last frost date or the day before our last frost date. So when I tell you I'm right on it, so I'm going to plant this North Georgia candy roaster. And then I'm also going to plant this spaghetti squash. This is an organic spaghetti squash, and I do like doing these as a substitute for noodles for a lower carb option. So we're going to do these too, and we're going to go ahead also, we're going to label these as we do them so we know what they are. I'm going to go ahead and plant that this candy roaster is going to need a bigger container, so I'm going to give it a deeper container, and I'm going to go ahead and do this one on camera, the spaghetti squash. When I start seeds, I don't worry about fertilizing, but whenever it's time to direct sow, like we're doing today, I'm going to fertilize. Now, squash need balanced fertilizer during their life cycle of growing, so I'm going to go ahead and give both of these some 4-4-4 plant food, and you'll see that it's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, a balance of all those 3 nutrients. So I'm going to put those in the planting hole, and I'm going to do about 3 or 4 seeds per pot for the spaghetti squash. For the actual candy roaster, I'll probably only do a couple of seeds because they get so huge. The vines get so nice and huge. I want to give it room to grow. As I mentioned, giving this a deeper pot for the candy roaster. Another thing you can do to help, we've got the soil recycling, but you can also always add a fresh layer of soil. I actually have some pre-made soil, so I'm going to go ahead and add some soil on top of this before, and I could have done that with the other one also, but add a layer of fresh soil to give this some fresh nutrients in addition to the fertilizer we're going to add for this candy roaster. Okay, so I only put 2 in here because of the size, and I'm actually going to do another pot of this. What I always do is I get some of this insect netting, and you have to try different ones because you get various levels of success, but this one was stronger than the original one I tried. And I'm going to, after I water these in, I'm just showing you this as a demo, I'm going to actually cover this pot with this, and it's going to actually stay covered. The mesh allows the water to get through, it allows the, other, things, the air, sunlight to get to it. But the mesh, the great thing about it is, I only uncover it when it's time for me to fertilize. But you can use, and I have bigger ones, and this is just for demo. You can use different sizes, and I will leave this covered until the squash actually gets flowers on it. That's when we want to uncover, and then we'll apply we've got our kaolin clay for the first time this year. We'll apply our kaolin clay and go from there as far as fighting off squash bugs, vine borers. But let your squash be covered until the flowers bloom and open up. That will be one thing that will help you against some of the pests. Again, this is some of the soil that I recycled from the onion moth. We're not sure what's going on with the soil, so we've got our beneficial nematodes, the toads that I just applied, that once I water in, that'll activate them. Need to water them at least 3 days in a row, and then check every couple of weeks, 10 to 14 days, to make sure that the insects that we don't want are controlled by the beneficial insects. The second group we're focusing on are melons. So this year I'm being strategic because melons take forever. So being strategic, I purposely got this organic sugar baby watermelon. It's one that's compact, and because it's compact, it's made, and for some reason this camera keeps losing focus, but it's purposely made to be one that's for container gardens. So I'm going to put that one in this small pot here. I'm also going to go ahead and start sweet Siberian watermelon, and it's one that is made to mature in about 85 days, which is great. That's much shorter than normal. So we're going to see if that's going to be a full-size melon in 85 days. We also have this Congo variety of melon. I'm going to plant this one because it is a full-size melon. I'm going to give it the tall pot. Last year the tall pots went well, but I'm going to give it a tall pot. One thing all three of these have in common though is they're going to need a calcium source. Last year I grew melons. They were little small ones, but I did grow some melons, but I had to apply this regularly. You can do eggshells, you can do other calcium sources. Bone meal is a source, but I like the oyster shell flour, and so I've got this, and I'm going to put this in the pot before I actually plant them. I'm actually going to also give them some bone meal and some lang bean night because of the type of crops they are. Because they need so many nutrients, I'm only going to put like 2 seeds in a pot because the vines need room to grow, and when you start applying this calcium, if you have a lot of seeds in there, they're each going to pull off of this calcium. So you literally only want 1 or 2 seeds in a pot so that they will be able to have enough calcium to prevent blossom end rot. And that's why we're using this calcium on a regular basis. You look at the seeds even look smaller in this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of these here. There's a seed there and a seed there, so they won't compete for that calcium. And just barely cover that. And I'm gonna water this in. I'll do that off camera just because I'm gonna do everything at the same time. So I'm just showing you this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and label that. Make sure to hit like and subscribe, and grab my free organic fertilizer guide. It tells you what to use on up to 40 different crops at different times, and join our free school community. This Congo melon seed, very different look from those sugar babies. So you can see it's a very different kind of look from those sugar baby seeds. And those sweet Siberian have an even darker seed that's smaller than that Congo watermelon seed. The third group is going to be our peppers. One thing that's interesting about peppers, last year I finally successfully grew peppers, and I grew like California Wonder and Ozark Giants. The key to these again is calcium. So again, my secret ingredient to a lot of these long-term crops appears to be calcium. Our melons need calcium to avoid blossom end rot. Our peppers also need calcium that's critical to their growth. For some reason, they just don't do well without that regular dose of calcium. So we're going to be planting some of these. Also doing Purple Beauty this year and California Wonder. Some of these I'm going to end up doing succession planting because I've got some new varieties I'm going to be trying this year. They're new to me, like this chocolate bell pepper, and they can go in a short pot, that short pot that I showed you earlier. I will be planting these with the lang bean night, and these normally take like more of a balanced fertilizer. So I will definitely be adding calcium to the soil, and then I will be doing a balanced fertilizer with these. And last but certainly not least are tomatoes. Tomatoes you want to always get out as soon as possible because they take time to actually get to the maturity level that you need them to get to. Brown sugar tomato is one that I have tried before in the past. I didn't have, it's supposed to have a significant taste difference. I didn't see a significant taste difference. Putting this one out, again, like our other ones, these need calcium. They need that calcium, they need that bone meal. You'll see things online that'll say use blood meal, but I found that once you start seeing these, the larger they get, the more you're gonna need bone meal and calcium sources and things of that nature. So that seems to be our common denominator here, that if you took nothing away today, is that a lot of your long-term crops are gonna be heavy calcium feeders. I'm also really big on, I'm going to get some different varieties. This is Ponderosa Pink. I've got Mortgage Lifter. I've got one called Aunt Lou's Underground Railroad. I'm going to be doing that because I'm really into the heirloom types this year. Well, all of these are supposed to be heirloom, but when I say heirloom, I mean the kinds of the pleated heirloom tomato types. So I'm going to get some of those out. I decided because of time, I'm going to do those off camera. The key to know here is make sure you feed them calcium, give them some bone meal. It's fine to give them blood meal in the early stages. And if you get that free ultimate fertilizer guide I have linked in the description, you will see when you'll need to switch over and focus on the bone meal to get the maximum growth in your tomatoes. And again, we have a free school community. If you have not liked and subscribed, please do so. And I promised a bonus crop. The bonus crop is going to be our pollinators. We have different things like zinnia, calendula, and if you note from my other videos, calendula is one of my favorite ones because it serves not only as an attractor for our pollinators, but it also deters some of the things we don't want. So if you want to order some things, calendula and dill are two things, D-I-L-L, that you can focus on. So those, you want to get these out in your garden as soon as possible because they're going to help you actually bring in more things. A lot of people use marigolds as natural pest deterrents also. So get these also in your garden as soon as possible, and those along with your tomatoes, peppers, your melons, and your winter squash will help ensure you have an amazing summer garden and you don't run out of time to allow these wonderful plants and crops to grow to full maturity. Again, feel free to join our free school group. It's linked in the description, and grab that ultimate fertilizer guide so you'll know exactly what type of fertilizer your crops need at what stage. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.